ever experienced. And so you and I have to ask, we have to ask, is this realm and these beings, are they the source for our concepts of and images for angels? How thin is the veil between the worlds of the seen and the unseen? Erica, your daughter's last name is Steigerwald?
Shepherd.
Shepherd, thank you. Erica and I are on a first name basis. Erica Shepherd is Cindy Murphy's daughter. I know a number of you have met her. She's been working in an intensive care unit. And I recently spoke with her, and she shared with me some of her experiences at her place of work, and I want to share some of those with you right now. She attended a meeting some months ago. It was a meeting of doctors and patients and potential patients on cardiac prevention, how not to have a heart attack, how to live, with a lifestyle that will keep you from going to that place. And she shared with everyone present that when someone codes, when they have a heart attack, the harsh and brutal procedures that the body experiences as the medical team goes to work on them. And she chose to be graphic about how the chest is literally ripped open in an effort to save a life. And no one left that night thinking that it was at all pretty. And she was very clear that not everyone made it. Well, after the meeting, a man came up to her and he said, "I died." "What?" Eric responded. He said, "I died. I was in the ER and I coded. My heart stopped. And then I was in the corner of the room and I was watching the doctors work on my chest on the table." She said, "What was that experience like?" He said, "Euphoric. Absolutely euphoric." He said, I didn't have a memory of my family or anything. It was just euphoric. Well, shortly after this experience, Erica read Proof of Heaven, Dr. David Alexander's book. And she recalled that when he was in his near-death experience, that he didn't recall his family or anything else at that time. And by the way, that's not true for everyone in near-death experiences. Some do remember their earthly life. Is your experience of life and mine exactly the same? No. I think it's true in every realm of consciousness that there are differences. On another day, it was 6 p.m. before shift change. And Erica was walking by a patient's room, not her patient, not her assigned patient, but the IV alarm was going off. And so she was there, she went in to attend to the patient. She found a man cowering underneath the covers. She said, "Are you all right?" He said, "Don't you see it? Don't you see them?" She said, "What?" He said, "The snakes in the ceiling." She assured him that she didn't see anything in the ceiling and that he was going to be all right. She checked all of his vitals. Everything was absolutely fine. At 6:45 a.m. the next morning, he coded and passed away. And then she recalled a passage from a proof of heaven. And it was in that first realm that even Alexander's awareness found himself, that dark, muddy realm. And at times he said that he could see faces of animals bubbling up around him. Again, they weren't threatening him, but they were there. And she made a connection in her mind. And then there was a 70-year-old man. Again, not her patient. He was in the ICU. He had been in a car accident. He'd sustained only a few broken ribs. She had not a clue why he was in the intensive care unit. You're normally not there with broken ribs. And there was nothing else going on with him. He did have an IV. And the alarm was going off. So she went in to check on him. He was underneath the sheets, peeping up. She said, "What's going on? Are you all right?" He said, "Do you see it? Do you see the tunnel in the ceiling?" She said, "I want you to know that you are safe here. You are safe here." And the man seemed to relax, but kept looking right at that ceiling. And she fixed his IV and she left. And a little later that day, she found his assigned duty nurse. And she said, "I think your man is going to die. Keep an eye on him." Now, she certainly didn't wish that this man make his transition, but that was her sense at the time. And the next day, he coded and passed away. And the last story she shared with me was the most recent, concerned an 80-year-old woman who was her assigned patient. And her condition, her medical condition at that time, told all of her doctors, all the nurses, they knew that she would most likely pass within 24 hours. And so Erica would visit with her periodically throughout the night. And she told me that when she first went in, on her first couple visits, this woman would smile sweetly at her. But in the later visits, the woman's face was looking straight up at the ceiling with a look of awe and wonder. She was glowing. Just glowing. She never once again looked at Erica. Her gaze was transfixed on what she saw above her. And the next day, she made her transition. How thin is the veil between the worlds of the seen and the unseen? I've mentioned a few times last weekend and today that even Alexander was adopted. Well, it was about 4 months after he had woken up from his coma, and he had just finished writing down all of his recollections, which was the very first thing that he did. He did that before reading about any other near-death experiences, before talking with anyone else who had done so. And it was at that time that he received a large envelope in the mail. Now, one of the things that had troubled him, and he was thinking about this shortly before he opened that envelope, one of the things that troubled him, because he had completed, at this point, as I said, he completed writing down his recollections, so he had just started reading about other near-death experiences. And in most of them, while there were differences, in most of them, the person who had crossed over was met on the other side by one or more loved ones they knew. But he hadn't. And that troubled him. It not in a harsh way or a bad way. He just like he was an orphan. An orphan Why am I left out? Why not me? Why am I not good enough to have been met by a loved one? And he opened the envelope. And from it he took a framed 8 by 10 color glossy photograph of the sister he'd never met, Betsy. But he knew her. He met her. He looked at this picture and he saw a woman that had lovely high cheekbones, deep blue eyes, long golden brown hair. And it was the girl on the butterfly wing. How thin is the veil between these two worlds? From long before, Jesus said so plainly, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The world has been asking the question, how? How do we thin the veil between human awareness and divine consciousness? How do we do that? And in his coma, even Alexander got his answer. I believe he got the answer. And the way to do it is to manifest love and compassion. Why? Because love and compassion are so much more than the abstract, warm and fuzzy things we think they are. And trust me, I love warm and fuzzy. From the rabbits and all the way up. What he realized, what he knew absolutely beyond any measure of doubt, was that love and compassion are real things. They are concrete. They are concrete. Love and compassion make up form. They are the substance of the spiritual realm. And in order for us to return to that spiritual realm from which we've come, we must make ourselves like it. Like